All right, hello everybody, this is Miss Pekarsky. I am starting the logarithm test review. It's over pages 73 and 74 from your textbook, and I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible. I know some people asked me to do a review of just the questions that are on the test, and what I've done is there's several different versions of the test, and so I've taken like from each section you'll have one of those types of questions. So for instance, from the first three questions here, you you might have a question like this or like this or like this, and I will be changing the numbers. You're not going to have exactly this question, but you might have something where your base number is not shown here or where you have a decimal here. Okay, so everybody needs to know how to do all of these problems. Okay? I've worked out all the problems that you are supposed to do for homework from pages 73 to 74. I've worked them out in this video, so if you watch it before Monday, then you can check your answers and make sure you have everything correct. Also, because I've already worked through all of them and just did all the steps, I'm not going to go through every single slide and every single part. So hopefully I can make this video shorter than the last review video. All right, so if you haven't done so already, check your first three problems. Those are the answers, and that's how to solve them. Okay, next three, these are the answers. If you don't understand how I set these up, ask me how on Monday. Okay, that's when we're doing the in-class review. This section is over questions 7 through 12. You don't have to do question 13. And let me first make sure I have the right thing selected. There we go. All right. So in this question, they want you to, let's see, make a table of the values of the function using the x values of 1/9, 1/3, 1, 3, 9, and 27. So I'm pretty sure everybody knows how to graph this equation and how to pull up the table values. So these are the table values, and the value for 1, 3, 9, and 27 are just right off of the table. When you're trying to, or sorry, the table from your calculator. But when you're trying to find the value for when x is 1/9 or when x is 1/3, you would just plug that number in for the x here into your calculator, and you would get 2. Plug in 1/3 for x, and you would get 1. So that's how we got those table values. Hopefully you all know how to do that. Now, then it says graph the function on a coordinate plane. It'll look like this, okay? Now, based on this graph, you want to know what are the domain and range of the function. Domain, don't forget, is all possible x values. And remember, because this does not land on the y-axis, then our domain is going to start at 0, but we would use a parentheses here, and then it will keep on going this way forever. So it'll be from 0 to positive infinity, and then the range goes all the way up to positive infinity, and then all the way down to negative infinity. But we always put the smaller number first, and then the bigger number. So because negative infinity is smaller, I guess, than positive infinity, it's negative infinity to positive infinity. And again, we're using parentheses because we can never actually get to infinity. So that's for the domain and range right there. And then what are the intercepts of the function, if any? Whoops. Notice it looks like it does intersect the x-axis or the y-axis, but it really doesn't. So we have no y-intercept, but the x-intercept is right here at 1, 0, right here. And then, let's see, identify the asymptotes of the function. Well, your asymptotes are when x equals 0. We talked about this in class several days ago. So the asymptote is this vertical line here at the y-axis, and a lot of people want to put down that it would be y equals 0, but it's not going to be there. It's going to be at x equals 0 because the value right here is an x equals 0, not y equals 0. All right. And because it's a vertical line, vertical asymptote. Let's see. All right. What happens to the value of f of x as x approaches infinity? and then as x approaches 0, we kind of talked about this as well several days ago. This is your math shorthand. So it just means as x approaches infinity, f of x or your y value will approach positive infinity. And then as x approaches 0, f of x or y will approach negative infinity. Okay. Hopefully you guys remember that. That's the basic properties of exponents. For problem 14, explain why natural log of 1 equals 0. Probably the easiest way to explain it is to convert it to an exponent or an exponential function, or in other words, get rid of your natural log here. We do that by putting the natural log of 1 as the exponent of e. Okay. Whatever we do to one side of the equation, we have to do to the other side. And then e raised to the 0 power is going to equal 1. Okay. You can plug that into your calculator if you've forgotten. Also, just the power of, this is one of the properties of, special properties of 1. If it's in the parentheses or of a logarithm, your answer will always be 0. Okay. Both of those explanations will work. All right, so now these 4, you are going to have a problem just like one of these 4 situations. Notice for problem 15 is worked out down here, 17 is right here, 16 is over here, and then problem 18 is worked out over here. Okay, pause the video if you need to. Take a look at those, make sure you've done all your work correct. All right, these problems, remember, I've told you time and time again, if it says use the change of base formula, just cross that out. Just use your calculator. Approximate to the nearest thousandth. You will probably have a problem like this on your test. At least one of them. Check your work. Make sure those answers are correct. And here's another one. Use the properties of logs to expand each expression. You will have a problem like one of these on your test. Make sure you know how to expand those. And honestly, it just depends on which test you get. Some of you will get a problem like this. Some of you will get a problem like this. Some of you will have a problem like that. And some will have a problem like this. The point is, make sure you know how to do all 4 of these. And if I change these numbers a little bit, don't be surprised. Okay? Problems 30 to 32 are shown here. And again, you will have one of these types of problems on your test. Numbers will be changed, though. With this part, we're just condensing or simplifying our logarithm, expanded logarithm function. All right, this one, which expression is equivalent to natural log of 3 times x squared? Same thing that we've been doing, just expanding those. And this is how I worked it out on expanding it. Notice how what I had here wasn't one of the answer choices, and that's probably going to be the case sometimes. You'll expand something, but whatever you get will not be what one of the answer choices is. Just make sure you understand that with the addition here, you can switch places of these, and this is an equivalent expression to this. Okay. Let's go on. This is one of the application problems that you'll see, and it looks like some of my stuff is maybe cut off in the video. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to move some of this down. Oh. Oh, that was really weird. Okay. Ow. Ow, that hurt my ear. All right, let me see if I can figure out what's cut off. All right. So right here, this just says A. This is for part A, and I think the top part of the T is cut off as well. Everything else is pretty much there. So this is an application problem. We've seen it before. Shouldn't be too surprising. If you have questions on how I set this up or how I solved it, you can ask that in class on Monday. Let's move on. All right. This section, problems 35 through, hold on, let me see how many of them are there. There's several of these, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. All right. So these several problems, you are going to have at least 2 of them on your test. Okay. And again, I have no idea which ones you'll have, so make sure you know how to do all of them. All right, so this is number 35. I've worked it out. Follow the steps. See if you got the same answers that I did. This is problem 36. Check the work. Make sure you got the same answer. Make sure you know how I got that answer. Here's 37. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, 38. With this one, it does look a little bit confusing here. Basically what I did is, because I have a fraction here, I made this a fraction, and then I did the little butterfly thing that you were taught in, let me see, middle school. Whenever you have fractions that equal each other, you can cross multiply and divide, and that's what I did over here. And here's 29. Sorry, that was 39. Here's problem 40. And again, all the work is worked out. Here's 41. And 42. Yes, I can count most of the time. And here's 43. Well, notice right here we had two options or 2 answers, but when we plugged -5 in, we ended up with an error. So the only one that actually works is 2. Wow, this is a big one. And it looks like one of my equal signs, or one of my things, is cut off. Let me see if I can bring that down. There. Now you can see it. Okay. Again, originally, if you look on problem 44, you have an equal sign here. I wanted everything on one side of the equation, so I subtracted that and put a 0 over here. And I work through all this, and I do all of this really complicated work, and then my solutions are -3 and 4. I plug them both in. Neither of them will actually work. Both of them give me errors, so I have no solution here. And let's see, 45. Again, no solution, lots and lots of work to just find out that it doesn't work at all. And then 46, we did this application problem in class on Friday. You will have this problem on your test. I will be changing the numbers slightly, so make sure you know how to set up the problem and how to solve it. And let's see, here's 48. I totally skipped 47 because I really hate that problem, and we're not going to have it on the test, so I skipped it. All right, so I think that, oh no, we have 49. Let's see. So yeah, we went over this in class on Friday, so it's here for you. If you have questions, ask me Monday. And here is 49. On 49, or for 49, there's 2 parts of it. There we go. I'm not too worried about you listing a property or give an explanation on how you were able to solve it, because honestly, most of us have a finite or a limited amount of space in our brain, and I would prefer you to actually know how to use all those properties than if you spent lots and lots of time memorizing the names of the properties and then had no clue how to use them. Okay. So make sure you know how to use it. Make sure you know how to solve these. Just find the value of each expression without using a calculator. I'm trying to remember if you'll have one of these problems. I believe so, but I'm not 100% sure. So make sure you know how to solve these with the properties, and moving on. Here's, what is it? This is 49, part B. And part C. I forgot to delete this. You don't need that. It's just 49, part C. And then part D. And then I believe this is the last slide. Yep, it's 48 of 48 slides. All right, so I try to go through that video as fast as I could. Again, if you need to review or rewind this, pause it, whatever, go for it. And let me not save that. Anyway, so if you have questions, write them down, be ready to ask Monday, okay?